Welcome back to another episode, ladies and gentlemen, of ATG After Dark. It's Syndicate, better known this one as the Syndicate version. Today, I'm Jeff Black. I'm joined by my good friend, Jason Theobald, aka Scooby.
Yes, sir.
We are missing Robo. He is on a all-weekend bender, just dancing up all those rich people as he tries to lure them into giving him millions of dollars to sell their business.
Every day gets a little different.
It gets a little bit more out there every time we keep filming. By tomorrow, I can't wait to see how outlandish it is. But we have our good friend, local Tennessee legend and IFBB pro, Ryan Walters, joining us here today to have a conversation about bodybuilding and kind of like we just found out right before we recorded, been competing since 1999.
Got me beat by two.
Yeah. So, and I competed in 06. So what we're going to do today with this conversation is talk about the bodybuilding career and how it's like changed over the generations, like what the gyms were like growing up, what training was like, what the drugs were like, what the nutrition was like, what the supplements, and how this has evolved as Ryan's pursuit to get the pro card was one filled with a lot of grit, a lot of no was thrown his way, and he finally persevered. So it's a great story, and I want to kind of get into that. So Ryan, thanks for joining us, man.
Thank you. Thank you. A lot of mountains and valleys, a lot of mountains I climbed, and just the 27-year grind, 23-year grind, I guess it was.
Before you got the card?
Let's see. If not, 99 was my first contest, and I turned pro 2019.
20 years.
20 years. So I went in 2001, and I went pro in 2016. I thought that took forever. Yeah, he was at it.
Damn.
I think 30 contests total. I lost. I really don't know.
What weight class did you start out at? Because I heard the story Tony wanted you were dying when you made lightweight once. I was like, Ryan made lightweight?
By 5, he probably was a lightweight.
Wait, hey, here we go. 144 was my first contest.
I got him beat. I weighed in at 138.
Okay.
I stood up there. Yeah. Back then, you weighed in on stage the morning of.
Yes. I forgot about that. He's
Everybody
right.
lined up.
He's right.
One by one.
Yes. Tricky Jackson was my first show, and that is right.
That morning.
Yep.
There was no carb up.
No.
Or maybe you ate a pizza afterwards. I saw that. I've never done it, but.
Yeah.
So 144, the guy looked at me and said, "You're 1 pound away from Bantam."
Yeah, 143 and a quarter.
And I said, "How many is in that class?" "None. You're going to win." I said, "Not a chance." Mm-hmm. I didn't diet 12 weeks to not compete against somebody.
I would have done the same.
I said,
thing.
I'm going lightweight.
Mm-hmm.
I won.
There you go.
I was the most conditioned.
Yep.
So I was the smallest, but I was the most conditioned in that class.
Yeah.
So I have been the top 5 at the national level 20 times over 5 weight classes.
Oh, shit.
Lightweight, 2005. Tony was doing my diet.
Yeah, that was the famous way. Say he looked over and he wondered if you were still alive.
30 seconds.
Dude, he looked over. He said, "Dude, his breasts were so shallow. I wondered if he was still alive." And I was like,
True story. True story.
I love Tony's stories.
My ex-wife was laying next to me. She said, "I need you to roll over." And I said, What are you talking about? What do you mean? She said, because I had tan on or makeup or whatever on my face. And she said, "You look like you're in a casket," because my face was so sunk in. My nose had caved in. My cheeks were almost touching. That was the first time I ever felt fat-free feet, where every time I stepped, I was bone.
Yep.
Oh, man. And the only time I'd ever felt that again was the day I won my pro card. Mm-hmm. As soon as I stepped in the bathroom, I felt that, and I said, uh-oh, it's on.
Yep.
So
it's an interesting feeling.
But lightweight, middleweight, light heavy, and heavy, I think I got top 5. I don't know if there's a welter or not.
What are the pounds on those?
Let's see. Lightweight's under 154. Mm-hmm. Welterweight, 154 to 165. Yep. Middleweight, 165 to 176. Light heavy, 176 to 198. Heavyweight, 198 to 225.
So
and I was in the heavyweight
spectrum.
In the heavyweight, I was 203, but I think I got 4th or 5th.
Yeah.
Where did you end up turning pro at? What class?
Light heavy, Master Nationals.
Okay.
Light heavy master nationals.
When you first got into this, how was your training? How was like sets? Because like today we always hear like, oh, it's mechanical tension, the pump, this, that, the other thing.
Let's see,
2 or 3 sets. And back in the day when I came up at the gym, you could see the guys who like legitimately worked out. Like I grew up around Beano, Tim Blackburn in Nashville. Which, Tim was a legend, and it was one of those like you watched him work out. And you're like, all right, man, they're like doing like 30 sets for biceps, just tons of volume. And then you hear this like 4 to 5. I see kids in my gym. Like I talking one kid, he doesn't do more than 6 sets for chest. I'm like, but you don't even train that hard. Like you think you do, but you don't. So I'm just curious, like how it evolved for you.
Back then I was more into the Mike Mincer one all out set, Dorian Yates.
That way. Oh shit, I'm definitely fascinated now. Yeah. I'm in. Okay, so what was like training like that? Because I've never ever met someone who did that.
I would just do feeder or warm up sets, 2 or 3, and then go all out for 1. Sometimes I would drop set it if I failed like at 3 or 4 reps. I didn't think that was enough. I at least wanted to get 8 to 10.
How did you progress with that?
Trying to beat the logbook.
Fair, but how did that result into how your body, like, is that where you started growing through these weight classes? Was that responsive to you?
When I started growing through the weight classes is when I found out the game. Yeah. The real game.
Okay.
So, because I qualified for the national level natural.
Okay.
Now, that was 20 years ago, and that was before YouTube and everybody's talking about it, right? There was no information. There was no internet.
That's true. I remember my first show in 06, like me on bodybuilding.com and reading the forums and be like, oh, thank God people put these shitty photos of Polaroids up on the internet.
Well, the supplement side was hush hush. You didn't talk about that in the gym. Now you got people yelling trend across the gym.
Oh, it's wild.
Open.
It's wild. It's
and
wild,
man.
Hush.
Sometimes I'm like, still to this day, I'm still like, we just didn't talk about it back then.
Yeah, that's what we talked about earlier. You had to know somebody,
absolutely,
and you had
100%.
to pay your sweat and dues before you could even have the conversation.
If you didn't train hard, you probably weren't getting in that circle.
Nope.
They weren't going to talk to you.
They weren't going to talk to you. Yeah, 100%. That is true.
Yeah. So I qualified for the national level natural, but I knew what I was fixing to go up against. I knew with my genetics and my look that glutamine and creatine wasn't going to cut it. So I think that's when I started progressing through. Not that the supplements were all the thing, but with the supplements came more food. Yeah. With the food came heavier weights. Yeah. I mean, I was benching 405 at 190.
Damn. Wow.
I haven't had 405 on the bar since then because I guess we'll get to that, but because older I got, I had to change the way I trained.
Yeah, you have to.
My joints couldn't take that Mincer Dorian Yates style. Now I'm a volume pump guy.
Yeah. Do you think your body, okay, so with that being said, you were training, and we'll just go minimal 1 set per body part. You're just doing your fingers. How many years did you get away doing that in your career?
5.
So 5.
Yeah.
And how did you grow through the weight classes at this point? Or did that, I guess what I'm trying to get, when you switched to pump and you started switching that up, is that when you noticed some different changes?
Yes. I progressed through lightweight, welterweight, and middleweight doing that.
Okay.
The last time I did middleweight was at the USA's and I got 12th, and Jose was my coach, Jose Raymond. We talked to, it's a Tennessee judge, and I think he passed away.
Cliff?
Yes. Cliff said, Ryan, was the top 5 taller or shorter than you? And I said, all 4 were shorter. He said, there's your sign. I've never been told I was too tall for anything.
Yeah, you're 5'5".
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
So once he said that, he said, look, Mark Dugdale's 5'6". He light heavy. You got to go light heavy. Not because he said that I changed the way I trained, but for whatever reason, during that, maybe it was Jose. Maybe it was going to train with Jose and finding out he's a volume, but he's also pushing that weight. Yeah, so I kind of changed my way.
Crazy when he trained.
Yeah, man.
So what was that like? So you're going from a couple sets to volume. Define what volume was like with Jose in comparison.
And did your food have to go up? Because now you're burning more every day.
100%. Man, every contest, I never asked for judges' feedback until I did the Puerto Rico Pro 2022. I've never asked for judges' feedback.
I haven't
Not
in
because
years.
I didn't want to hear it,
No,
but because
I kind of know.
I
Honestly,
right. I got the pictures and I go, yep, okay.
Yeah, I need this.
know.
I need that. Yeah,
Correct.
Yeah.
And I knew that size came with more calories for me. That's going up has still been a 20-year journey for me.
Yeah, I get that.
I can get lean, but going up, man, it is a absolute struggle
I'm in
chore.
the same boat. I mean, well, let me look at. You started a little lightweight. I was a bantam. I mean, when your body is meant to be smaller, it's food.
Yeah,
and I still struggle with. Let me ask you this: does the food go down easy? Like, or do you have a good digestion? Because my digestion is not amazing. I always have to take enzymes. I have to take hydrochloric. I have to trick it. I have to use foods that are juice with meals and stuff as it gets up there because I just can't process.
The last year, I've incorporated the juice.
Yeah.
I started drinking the carbs, drinking the calories.
Yeah.
You know, just to bump it up another 30, man.
Yep.
You know, 8 ounces of juice, that's another 25, 30.
100%. And you can throw honey in your oats. And I was just curious.
Just little
Some
things
guys
like
you talk
that,
to, and they're
man.
like, dude, I'm an empty pit, and I can eat 4,000 calories, and I want more.
No, man.
No, me neither,
No.
dude. I'm at 3,500 now on my comeback. I'm dying. I'll keep upping my intensity, and it'll come. But I was just curious how your digestion was.
Another reason that I quit doing the Mincer Dorian Yates, if I didn't beat the logbook from the week before, I just wanted to leave the gym because I thought, well, I'm not progressing, so what does it matter? So that one
That
day,
had been a weird mind fuck.
one day in the gym, I just threw it in my bag, and I never wrote down another thing because I was like, okay, it's ruining me.
Here's one thing with me and writing shit down, and I'm sure it's thwarted some of my gains. It starts to feel like a job.
Yes, that's what it was.
And for me, training has always been an escape from the voices in my head or just what's going on in the day. And if I have to sit there and write shit down and add up the weight, it's just not fun.
No.
And I get it. It's probably there's a limitation because I sometimes don't always remember what I did. But it's not fun.
I started all this not to be a bodybuilder. I didn't
Yeah, me
look
neither.
I didn't
Never.
look at some magazine
No.
and go, oh man, I want to be that.
Me neither.
I started it because I was going down a wrong road, borderline alcoholic at 23. Everybody, I was in a fraternity. I was at college still. Yeah. Everybody started graduating, and I was going nowhere. And I woke up one day, looked in the mirror, and I said, you know what? I'm going to change this right here. I don't know what else to change.
So funny. We've had some,
but I'm going to change this, man.
Men who look at themselves like I
my
did the same
aha
thing.
moment, man.
I did that with my book. The whole I hate what stares back at me, and I decided to make a change. So what you're saying, yeah. How was it going to the gym? Going from pretty much alcoholic, to the gym. Like I bet that was a hell of a light switch.
I woke up, looked in the mirror, and I asked my ex-wife. She was a girlfriend at the time. I said, "Take a picture." She said, "What? You're still hammered." I said, "Take a picture."
Take it anyways.
and she took a picture. I still have it. I post it time to time.
That's my day one.
And I went and bought a weight set at Sears.
Sears, they're not even open anymore. I know Sears though. You remember Sears?
Roebuck.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
That's right, man.
Yeah.
Right beside the John Deere lawnmower, right?
Yeah,
the weight section.
Weight section.
So I bought that, put it in my apartment at MTSU. I lived with, it was a townhome duplex. There was 4 guys on each side, so 8 fraternity brothers. We all had our own room. Across the street was our fraternity house. Liquor stores on each end. O'Charlie's behind the K house. So when I put the weight set in my room, all my fraternity brothers laughing because, see, I was I could go to 7, 8, 9 the next morning as long as alcohol was around. I didn't fight. I didn't throw up. I didn't pass out. I just got a pace and I'd keep going. I was the guy that would stand up at 3 o'clock in the morning, get on a table and start singing to keep the party going. Because I didn't want it to die.
Yeah.
So they were all, Ryan, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
They were all laughing. Who's calling me now?
Yeah.
But I lost 30 pounds on my own that summer.
Oh, so you had put on some fat. You had put on some fat.
I was like 180, but I had a 36-inch waist, 38-inch waist.
Okay.
I could rest a beer by my belly.
Okay.
And so I dropped 30 pounds that summer, and when people came back in the fall, they had to ask who I was.
Yep.
And then I went from a CD student to an AB student.
So I've talked about this.
So discipline, it taught me because I had zero.
Yeah.
Zero. And I started enjoying the feeling, that pump, man.
Oh, of course.
And so when people are like, hey, man, let's go. We need you. Let's go party. We need you. No, I got chest tomorrow.
Yep.
What? Come on, Ryan. Come on, Walters.
Yep.
No.
So, you know, my story's a little different. I hadn't gotten fat. I was just tiny as fuck. And I remember I started training in college. And I came back that next year after summer. And I started growing pretty quick for a small guy. And it was the same thing. People didn't recognize me from far away. Like, you know, I had my shirt off playing soccer and no one knows who that is. And, man, that was like a drug for me. And that was it. Like, I quit playing soccer, like, because I was losing weight. And for me, I just worked all summer to put on 20 pounds on this small frame. So it looked like a lot. And I'm a kind of rounder guy like you, big shoulders. So people were seeing it. And then I'm seeing it fade as I'm running all summer with the, yeah. And I was like, no, this is more my identity now, because it was such a drug of people being like, who's the rip guy? Who's the muscular guy? I was never that dude. I'd never heard those words up to that point. So it was like a drug for me. And from that point, I've been hooked for 25 years. Does that kind of what happened with you?
It just saved me. It just kept me out of the, not that, and I'm not slamming people that go to bars and stuff, man. If you want to go, go. That's your thing. This is my thing. I was just, if it wasn't for me finding that, I seriously don't know that I'd be alive. I was going down a bad. I mean, I was drinking 5 out of 7 nights. Oh. 2/5 or 24 beers.
You could do 2/5 in a night?
2/5 or 24 beers.
Did you hear that?
But here's the thing, though. That's over like 12 hours, 10 hours.
Because I don't care. 2/5 a night.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Damn.
How much you were drinking?
Dude, when I drink a fifth once, I blacked
24
out all
beers.
night.
I'm serious, yeah.
Damn. Yeah, you were heading down to death.
I wouldn't wake up till 3 o'clock the next day.
Yeah,
you know,
you
the
had
afternoon.
cirrhosis by
100%.
Yeah.
Or wreck. You know, I mean,
I relate to that. I think if I didn't find bodybuilding with how my youth was with all the surgery stuff, I was going to go into drugs or
place, man.
Or I would have just killed myself. It would have been one of the two. I would have just gone down a path. And that was one thing. Like my mom, I think when I got into it, she was like, all right, well, he's at the gym or he's playing Dungeons and Dragons. He's doing one of these two things. And the gym, oddly enough, was just a little bit of a saving place, man. I think all of us can relate to that. Yep. And I always get mad when people be like, it's not therapy. So I'm like, I've been to therapy. I know there's a difference, but for some people, it's the act of going to the gym is a ritual, and therefore it has a therapeutic effect. It's like the act of going to church. So people say, I saw therapy to go get real counseling. I'm like, okay, I get that point, but going to the gym, there's a therapeutic thing to it, man. I knew it would be safe. I knew like it didn't judge me. I judged myself against it. Like I hated it. It hated me. Like I could do whatever. It was freedom, creativity, escape. Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't give it its credit. It's looked at almost like this other thing now. And I'm like, no, man, a lot of people got into the gym kind of were just running away from things and kind of 100%. Found something that they could bury that into.
Anyone who has taken it to the extent we have.
Oh, agreed.
There's something that you're running from. There's something that that's deep down maybe is off. And that's okay. I mean, if that recenters you, that's great. I mean, I was heading down a path of being successful, but I think it taught me how to work. For me, everything always came easy. I had straight A's. I was good at sports. This was the first thing I actually had to try and figure out, man, I'm not that great at this. This was the first time in my life I wasn't really that good at something I tried, but I was getting results, but I wanted more. And I really had to get disciplined to get more. Like, okay, now I got to get more sleep. Oh shit, now I got to add carbs to just protein. I'm hitting protein, but I ain't growing anymore. Now I got to get, you know what I mean? And you had to constantly get better and stay disciplined. And every level that you wanted to come up, you had to up your game. And then you realize that's how you do life. You know what I mean? I applied it then over to life. So I think, either way, it can teach people a lot of things. But I think they have to have like, people that stick with it, I think have that underlying like, I don't want to call it an issue, but there's something there that you're running from. Yeah.
And I started looking at the magazines once I dropped the 30 pounds and people started commenting, blah, blah, blah. And I think it was Men's Fitness then. I was looking at abs and arms, the beach look.
Yeah.
Well, I got that, and then I saw Flex magazine.
I was like, Flex changed it for me.
Wait a minute here. There's Muscle and Fitness and there's Flex magazine. I'm like, I've already got Men's Fitness. I'm going after that now. So I think that's it. Not a magazine didn't start me, but it fueled me further into the
possibility,
game.
the realm of it. Yeah, I get that.
And then I met Tony.
Yeah.
So I do
that
have
was my first coach, Haynes.
I do have one question before we move on from the earlier years. Did your friends change?
Oh, 100%.
Mine too. Yeah.
They have recently come back though.
Okay.
Because they want some of my knowledge and they're like, man, dude, I need you. Yeah. Which I think is pretty cool. Yeah. I look past back then.
Of course.
I've helped some guys that were in my fraternity.
I have too. One guy came back with metabolic syndrome. He was my roommate. His triglycerides are bad. His insulin was high. He was heading down the wrong path. And we dropped about 40 pounds off of him, got him on some TRT, and he was doing a lot better. His labs looked a lot better. He didn't stick with me to get the abs, which I was hoping, but he was at least healthier, And if that was what all he wanted, go for him, 100%. So.
Okay, so we got through the whole. We all agree that like the gym helps broken people,
100%.
And
there are
so
some days on that. There are some days, even though I'm a bodybuilder, even though I'm a pro, there are some days that I go to the gym, and I'm supposed to do a certain body part, with my split. I'll just train because I just call it a mental day. I'll just train. What are you training? I don't know. I'm just gonna do these.
I feel that.
I don't know, man. I don't know how to explain it.
About that, man. It's a different level.
It's the addiction to the endorphins.
Man. Just like I better than being at a bar to me.
It is.
So,
well, let's look at it this way. You wouldn't look like that if you would spent the last 40 years drinking,
That's
right?
correct.
So you pick your poisons.
Yes,
everyone picks their poison.
Yeah, my thing. That's weightlifting's my thing. The gym's my thing.
So you got
That's why when I know we're going to go down PEDs, and it's like people want to talk about that. And it's like, well, okay, if I got my PEDs thing, but my diet's great, I'm getting my sleep. What do you think's worse? You eating fried food all the time and drinking 4 nights a week, or having a little extra testosterone in your body?
100%.
I don't know. I guess we'll figure it out as all of us start to age. But
I'm willing to take the chance.
I'm willing to take the chance. I'd rather get to 70 built like Adonis than go to 80 and built like a frail motherfucker. That's me. But
I'm not going to turn this sadly dark. But in my book, I've had to weigh this out because of the pain I'm at 43. I'm like, all right, this is going to calm down. And I've always just kind of like, it's always been about the quality to me. Like I think personally, the reason I went as far as I did with my bodybuilding, my bone disease, because I wanted it to take me out. Like, because I knew it could, because brittle bones, I've been there working out and doing stupid stuff. You used to train with me. I do retarded things. Or bleep that word out. I'm sorry. I cannot say that word. I do stupid things there. Edit that in. It was to get to that point where I wanted to, like I said, I look at it from, shit, I just lost my whole train of thought.
You did crazy things. You said you were trying to train hard enough today.
I think you still had some self-hatred, to be honest with you. And you were willing to push yourself so far. If it killed you, it killed you.
Yeah, no. Okay, yeah. So I was going to go with that. It clicked with me when I saw this doctor back in October who couldn't figure out everything to do with me. He's like, I don't know how you do what you do and why this is what this is.
With the way you look, you should be able to do what you do.
But if you don't take a break, is what I could get the underlying mean that this is going to really fuck you up. And at that point, I was like, well, what else do I have to prove to myself, because it was my own little personal journey I was on. And I think that's when like I had talked to Cade and some people, who got, even you've been kind of in this retirement thing for a minute. Yeah. It was like, you don't have to say goodbye to it, but it's okay to say, hey, I'm going to go do something a little different. And I don't know really where all that shit was going, but I can relate to the whole, like in my book, how the darkness and how without that gym, I could definitely say that book ends very, very differently. I want to get into the PEDs though. I think that's important. When I first came up in the gym, so this is 97, Knoxville, Tennessee powerhouse. So I knew about the D-ball, I knew about Anadrol, I knew about these different things that guys were using, but the dosing was a lot different. Like I tell people back then, like I never ever, and the guys weren't telling me, but you had some guys who were really honest. Like, yeah, I'm taking like a gram of this and I got that, but it was way more orals back in the day.
Really?
when I was first got into it, because that was usually the bigger thing. And so my first cycle ever was D-ball and DECA at 18. My mom gave me the money for it.
Your dick keep working?
Yeah, dude, it was amazing.
Right.
Thank you for asking.
You're welcome.
Young 18-year-old Jeff
welcome.
was still.
I'm looking out for you, man.
Listen, I was firm. I'll put it to you like that.
Yeah, good.
So
good.
I get it, but I remember
Good
the
for
guy
you,
who
buddy.
sold it to me was like, if you don't put weight on from this, bodybuilding's not meant for you. And it was like, but I did. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right. Phew. But it was 200 mgs of DECA and 20 mgs of D-ball.
Okay.
And then now I got guys who will come to me like their third cycle, they're 1 gram of test, 1 gram of Primo, 600 trend, 400 EQ.
I've seen it.
And I'm like, man, my third cycle was like 300 tests.
I'm just
like,
straight.
I think that might have been like maybe sus 250 at the fourth one at 500. You know, I'm like going back trying to do the math.
I'm straight with them. You don't have enough muscle for that.
Yeah.
You're going to go toxic in 6 weeks. You don't have enough muscle for it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I think a good point where we want to get to. So with that being said, where were you at your career when you found steroids?
This is interesting because mine's
Yeah.
going to probably be different than all of you guys.
Yeah. Wow, my book is finally here, Brittle to Unbreakable. It's an autobiography that cannot resist being a self-help book. It's my personal journey. It's to show you that life isn't this polished thing. It's really a story of triumph we all have, and it's really important to share those more as we get out there in the world. And I wanted to share mine with you all. Go to brittle2unbreakable.com. It releases this month. If you guys are looking for anything else to do with the show, our sponsorships, new ethics formulations, AVH, if you guys want some coaching, I'm there for all that. Check me out, brittle2unbreakable.com. Are you looking for a guy who can produce all your things that you want to produce to a level that just says, wow, this is unique, clean, and most of all represents my brand, my story? Be sure to check out Cinema 83, Logan Hyder. He is our go-to for everything we do with the Syndicate and After Dark, and he is very successful here in the Nashville area. Check him out for a consultation for anything to do with your videography or production needs.
Ryan Walters, IFBB Pro. You can reach me at _IFBB Pro on Instagram. Facebook, Ryan Walters. I have a coaching training business, so hit me up.
Hey, my name's Jason Theobald, owner of Scooby Health, and then we also have a university under that, Scooby U. If you're really interested in some of the things we talked about today, go and check out our site, scoobyhealth.com. We got some education for you. We also can help you on your own journey. So yeah, that's it. Thanks.
2005 Junior USA. That was my first national level contest where I weighed 153.
And that was Tony prepping you, right?
I went from 190 to 153. But that was the first cycle, contest cycle. I didn't do an off-season cycle. I did...
How old are you now?
let's see, 32.
Okay. So we're not different, not too far from me.
32, 2005, Junior USA. Lightweight. I was a lightweight at 32.
Yep.
I made it to light heavy at 39.
Yeah.
But 300 prope, 300 tren, 300 masteron.
And that was it.
That was it. I don't remember any orals. Arimidex or Noveldex. I'm gonna say Arimidex.
You don't think you threw any Winstrol or anything in towards the end?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I just remember those three.
Those numbers, yeah.
Because I thought you had to do them, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So here I am filling up a 3cc whammer, where now I do more. If I can spread it out and do 1cc a day, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I'd rather do that too.
Instead of
3cc.
Yeah.
Same.
So that was my first dive in. The rebound, that's when I went up a weight class in 6 months. Mm-hmm. Like I won the lightweight then, and then nationals in November, I went up to a welterweight, and I got I think I got 8th at my first nationals, and Jose won that. And the guy that got 7th turned pro. There's some names in there that I'm forgetting. I think maybe Guy was in there too. Maybe Guy wasn't until middleweight.
Yeah.
But that was my first. Hello, here it's go time.
You know what though? That's a lot different than what we see now, right? Like even though he was only 154, I bet Ryan had a lot of muscle on that frame. You know, natural. And I did the same thing. I did lightweights in 2009, junior nats. I was natural. Just got 6th. And I remember backstage, a guy could go, well, "What are your supplements?" And I was like, "Creatine, like EAAs." And they're like, "No." Like I'm like, "Not on any." They're like, "Well, you're gonna get top 5 here, man." They're like, "If you'd hit the gas, you probably would do something really with the sport." And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm 34. Like, I don't know. I really thought about it." And then that's when I kind of was like, "Well, man, that'd be kind of interesting to see what would happen." So I was 34, so I built a lot of base. Do you think because you built a base and waited so long that you, like now I feel like even on TRT I look really good. And guys at the gym are like, "Well, you're on trend right now," and shit. And I'm like, "Nah, dude, I'm just leaning. I got muscle."
I'm like on 200 mgs of tests. That's it. Yeah,
you know, once I get the blood flowing, I'm round. They're like, "Oh, you're on." I'm like, "No, I'm on my TRT right now, man. Like I was natural for 15 years of training. Like I don't need a ton to like, you know what I'm saying?" So do you think like you have, did it help you at all? Or do you wish you went sooner? That's my question.
23 to 32, I trained natural.
Yep.
And during that later, probably 7 years in, that's when I had gym owners saying, "Hey man, if you just do, hey man," then I would have gym buddies saying, "Hey man, what are you doing? What are you doing?" "I'm eating 6 meals a day and doing cardio, man.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing."
Yeah.
No.
Right.
You're this.
Right.
And I kind of took that as a compliment.
Sure, I was never offended. But it was like you finally have that aha moment when other people are telling you, right? Like, "Hey, you could probably take it somewhere." And, you know, I didn't think it was ever going to, at that point, I did have a coaching business, but I didn't know that, like, you know, getting the pro card actually did really help my business and stuff like that. And we can get into that. But, you know, I think I waited maybe a little too long, but I don't regret it because, number one, I just don't have as much time of using them. So I'm 46 now, but I feel like I don't have as much mileage on my body as a guy who did it at 20 and now he's almost nearing 50. You know what I mean? So I feel like there's still, so I'm making a comeback and I know you're still competing. I feel like us guys who did it took longer, we just don't have the mileage on our body and we look a little fresher. That's my opinion.
I wouldn't have been able to handle it mentally.
Yeah. I wasn't ready mature. I don't think I was ready.
Because I was just coming out of the party stage and I still dabbled in it once a week. You know, I'd still go Thursday nights, the big nights. It wasn't until probably I reached the national level is when I just completely cut it out. Yeah. Because then once I won that, I thought, you know, I may have something here. Yeah. I may need to build on this. So I don't think I would have been able to handle it. I would have been too off the chain.
So you coach competitors. What do you think of the gear that you see coming into you today versus what you did? And how do you advise that? Because it's a hard message to overcome when so many people are saying, "Well, fuck that, do this." And I'm like, I get it, but
if the client comes to me natural, I try to at least the first show keep them that.
I think that's
if
smart.
They'll listen to me, because if you don't like it, why go down this road? If you don't like the process.
See, I'm glad someone else said that because that's how I'm with some of my guys. If they're on TRT, I'm like, that's all you need. I'm like, just do it on that. I'm like, you're either going to love it on show day or you're going to hate it. One of the two things are going to happen. I agree.
Well, I hate show day. I like the process.
See, I like the process more show day, but I've had people tell me they like the whole show day.
I don't
more,
like the tanner. I don't like waiting all goddamn day. I don't like
smelling terrible. It's awful.
You think I like wearing panties?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Dude, your banana hammocks look so good.
I mean, no. I love the process, man.
Yep.
The off season, the contest, I love the whole process. But that day gives me so much anxiety.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I've tried to combat that, and I fill up with water a little bit, and I'm still trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
Xanax.
But I've tried that. Didn't
hot.
I've tried that. Actually, I did both that time.
Fine. I'll tell you when you haven't tried jiu-jitsu wrestler choking you out, so you go to sleep.
So
We'll give him a bunch of cordies. Four or five caps every 4
Yeah,
hours.
just take a bunch of caps.
That'll keep that cortisol rolling
I'll keep
through.
your cortisol rolling through.
But my clients, if they're natural, I try to keep them at least for that show, right?
Yeah.
If they come to me already on or have a past, then
Yeah.
we roll. But I try not to push the limits. What's needed? What's needed? What's needed? Where they're going? It's a hard question. Really hard question to for me to answer. I think.
Well, no, I think you're right. I mean, the answer is it depends.
Yeah, because
Like,
what you
if
really
someone's
risk.
goal is a one-time thing and they're already on TRT, have a discussion. Maybe you're at a little primo and that's it. Maybe you keep them on TRT, like you said.
Yeah.
But if someone's like, hey, man, I want to end up an IFBB pro.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you don't have the genetics for it. I don't know how hard you're willing to work. So, all right, if you want to be a pro, then it takes this, this, and this. And you might have to use GH. You might have to use some insulin.
Yeah.
Is that what you want to do? Sure. Okay,
Yeah,
then let's
yeah,
get
then
started.
advise. Yeah.
Right? So the answer is it depends,
Yeah,
right?
depends.
But I
Depends on
agree
the
with you.
body.
If someone comes to me natural and they're not sitting here talking about gear and they didn't hire me for that, I'm like, I just keep them natural for
Sometimes
now.
I'll even say when somebody, if you're looking for the magical cycle, you come to the wrong guy.
Yeah.
I don't think
used
those
to,
exist.
that doesn't
I've seen
exist.
enough of them are up and down all around. I'm like, nothing beats 1 gram of 10 straight. So just go there if you need it.
I'm just
Just like 1 gram of trend.
Yeah, no, I was trying to slide that in under the radar. Yeah, because I was like, that will guarantee work. If that does it, then you definitely have no hope. I would dare say.
Now my doses and ranges have changed as the weight class went up.
Sure.
But now I'm
muscle.
figuring out at 51 I can get away with less.
Mm-hmm.
And keep
Have you switched to more GH with you getting older? Because I know that's something that me and Jay have done. I personally have found that to be way more helpful now in my 40s than I ever did in my 30s.
man, it's been
Especially my
straight.
bones.
I'll just be honest, it's been straight 5 for 15 years.
If I were you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every day?
At least 5 contest time every day.
Morning, night,
Split up 2.5, 2.5.
morning and night.
Yeah,
Do you track your blood glucose?
I have before. I'm kind of not religious with that, but I have before.
Is it good? Like, because the GH can obviously affect that big time.
It was in the 90s, so it was under 100.
What about like 2 hours after you eat? You ever tracked it?
I don't think I've ever.
I would just
A
take a
couple
look.
of times,
Yeah.
I think I did.
Yeah.
Just to, well, I just be honest, just to see if it was real.
Well, I'm even talking about like, so the long-term use of growth hormone, the biggest thing you got to manage is your blood glucose, right?
Right,
So I was just curious how that affects you because it affects me hard. And so I'm constantly having to reset that.
Okay.
So I was just curious.
All right.
So you
Something to
just
look
pretty
at.
much so when you say you've gotten away with taking less at this age, give an example of like what it was before versus what it might be now. So that way people do it because oftentimes they get confused. Well, what is the picture you're painting? Of
And this is just me. Probably at light heavy 40, I was probably at 1250 test. I know that I can't do 600 EQ because it causes too many sides for me, anxiety wise. So 450, 400 is my
thank
sweet
God,
spot.
Man, I take EQ and I'm like paralyzed with anxiety,
Yeah, it's
crippling
bad.
anxiety
Yeah, I
attacks.
can't.
I'll be like,
Yes.
and I'm never anxious. Never. I don't have that problem.
At 6, I was experiencing that, and back then there wasn't a lot of people to ask and a lot of information. I had to figure it out on my own. But I found like 400 is probably my sweet. It's 1200 tests, 400 to EQ. If I use DECA, I'd only sprinkle it in there per se, use 300 just because I use it for my joints. I don't feel, I hate to say I don't feel that 300 mgs a week does something, but I didn't feel it was helping my muscle gain more than it was helping my joints. Orals, I usually wait till contest time.
Agreed.
Because there's so many. And so now I kind of dabble with 750 test. 400 EQ, 300 MPP. Growth 5. I've dabbled with insulin. I don't know. Insulin, sometimes, and maybe y'all can help me, sometimes I feel like it burns my carbs.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
It does. It increases your digestion.
It does.
You're going to go through it
Store
faster.
them.
It's storing them, but it's helping you process faster.
Yep.
So you're going to be hungrier. So I like that aspect of it, to move that food through. But yeah, you know, if you don't get the carb up and you take your insulin, you could definitely feel flat, which is a weird situation, but it's moving that food through so efficiently.
I have a hard time with insulin, as you know.
And my scale,
BG's
the scale doesn't go up.
How
I feel like
how are you doing it?
pre
Okay. Just like a log
R,
or something?
R,
Oh,
Humulin
you were
R.
using R.
Are you injecting it intramuscular?
No.
Okay, so some guys are injecting intramuscular.
That's the only way I would use R.
Because that way, instead of it being like a 4 to 6 hour, you're dropping it to the 2 to 4.
Okay.
And they actually say it's more manageable control because, like, someone like me with Humalog, my issue is I'm about really 15 to 20 grams per IU of Humalog, but on the R, I'm more like 10 to 12 grams of carbs. Like I can control
Yeah, you
that
can
better.
cover it, yeah.
So I found that one works better, but I did do the intramuscular, and that was a perfect one for me because I would peak right in the
As you're
middle of my
getting ready to train.
workout.
Right.
And that was, by then I was fine. Like I just felt really good. I had no food. It didn't pull me down. I didn't get that rip down that some people do. So
The first time I started, I worked with Factory. Mm-hmm. I think 2010. And that's when I kind of started dabbling with it. He wanted me to use log, and I never could. I felt like I never could cover it. I would always.
That's what I always had. I'd get the shakes.
It would hit me. It would hit me.
Okay, so
Once I switched to R,
you have
I was-
really
I
good
was
insulin sensitivity, even with the GHU. So your numbers are probably fine, just genetically. That means so I don't have that response to it. I'm not as insulin sensitive, but I have type 2 diabetics in my family, so I have to watch the GH. I have to watch my blood glucose. I need a little insulin with GH use to like keep myself better blood glucose. So it sounds like you either are going to would have to push the food up or lower the dose, but it's negatively impacting your workout, especially if you go hypo. You don't want that.
Right.
You feel flat and you feel like
Shaking.
yes, and then your workout's ruined.
Now that was back in 2010, and I figured, I couldn't cover log, but when I went to R, then I was good. Yeah.
Yeah, no, actually, I think that makes sense for that. And you're eating probably trace fats during this window too.
Oh,
right?
like I tried just try to get close to zero as possible.
Yeah, and that's to help prevent the conversion.
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
forth. Okay, so we've covered GH, we've covered insulin.
I'm curious, you don't like Primo at all?
I not up.
Seen it? Yeah. That's unfortunate.
I've tried multiple
Yeah.
avenues, sources.
The only thing that ever helped me with that was I had to warm the shot up before I did it.
Yeah, you can
Like-
stick it in the oven to try to take care of the
I'll just
BA
run it in
content.
hot water.
Oh, if you put it in the
like,
oven
from
and
the
vent
sink
it, you can get rid of some
for
of
like
that.
a minute. Yeah, you'll help bust up some of that. Like
Like
it's almost like the
250
oil
for 8 minutes.
Yeah, it'll help bust up the oil and the benzyl alcohol because I know what you're talking about because that's what usually I would have that. Yeah.
I've tried.
So do you use Masteron then?
I do.
Okay, so Masteron.
I don't feel like it makes you grow as well. I know, like once you hit a certain androgen load, it's supposed to all be about the same. I know John Jewett says that a lot, but
Do you
I
want to
feel like
classify,
Masteron
clarify for everybody what an androgen is, real quick, since you just dropped that word?
I mean, it's what helps you build muscle. Androgenic steroid. I mean, if they're androgenic, you're going to turn over protein faster, protein synthesis, etc.
Bingo. Because you have to hear, I got put on a pack of steroids. I'm like, not the same kind of steroids.
Yeah. Those are catabolic ones, prednisone, etc.
Same kind of steroids.
Yeah, those are not androgenic. I know for me, Masteron, it gives me a nice look, but as far as moving the scale weight, I just feel like Primo does a better job. As far as sides go and looking at blood work, I've never seen much of a difference though. And I know Masteron's cheaper, but I don't know. I feel like Primo really shines, especially when you get up to 700 mgs and can tolerate it.
I just think that as I've gotten older, it's harder for me to tolerate. I hate injections.
I'm with you on all of
And
it.
I've kind of like run out of places of where I want to hit anymore.
Dude.
You hit your glute, you're like crippled for like a week if you go the wrong spot now. I'm like in biceps, triceps, shoulders, places baby, can you hit me in my rear delt?
Yep.
You know, like weird shit, you know. And I mean, I don't want to pin my lats again. My legs, if I hit it the wrong spot, I
can't do
Oh
those.
dear God, you
There's
can't
too
walk
many
like
veins and nerves. I can't do it.
Hey, you guys do sub Q shots, anything like that? I think that's harder
for
for me to
TRT,
control my estrogen.
And I've been on you know, I thought I was done. Basically was on TRT. I can sub Q those because it's not that much. It's not that much.
Where are you putting all this? Where do? That's the biggest thing. Like when because this is gonna be a question people ask. Like you're bodybuilding 20 plus years. Like how you dealing with the shots? Where you put the shots?
Just named. Everywhere you just named.
Yep.
Doing all.
You're gonna have to.
Everywhere.
Scar tissue builds up. I mean,
shoulders, quads, lats, rear delts.
Did you get any body work done to help break all that up?
I did. I didn't start until the Masters Olympia. I had a lady come to the house and once a week, but.
How'd you do at Masters Olympia? How did you do?
I got 12th.
Okay.
There were 16.
Okay.
I came in Wednesday. The show was Saturday.
Okay.
Should have came in Saturday if the show was Saturday.
Gave it a week.
Again.
Yeah, because of the 3-hour difference. The bitch. I was just out there. Or wait, was it in late Las Vegas this time?
No.
Where was it?
Romania.
Oh fuck! Yeah,
so
you should have done Saturday. Yeah.
24 hours. The flight time was.
Let me ask you this: is it worth it? Because I hate flying, dude. And I would like to do the Masters Olympia, but is it worth it?
Paying $6,000 one.
Yeah.
Flight, hotel.
I've been blessed in that situation. But more for me, it's like, the experience.
Yes, to be selected and be on the stage that had Olympia on it, which I never dreamed I would make it to. So to be invited, to be selected, at 400 people, out of 400 people, they only took 180. 160 showed up. Okay. So just to be selected in that, awesome. I had to pay $6,000 to go compete. Not awesome
because of the plane.
The plane
and the
was
food and your
plane was $1,700. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So money, blah blah blah, but the experience and to step on a stage that had Olympia, man, dude. I mean, to stand on the stage that had Dave Henry in it and Day. I was in the same class as them. Yeah. Man, I've watched him the whole time.
Yeah.
The whole time I've been competing, I've watched them.
Yeah.
So to just stand up there with them, my look that I brought, no, because I lost 10 pounds in 24 hours the day before.
Damn, and you didn't have 10 pounds to lose.
No.
What happened?
I was in the low 190s.
Did you start carb loading and it
freaked
got
out
away?
my mind.
So were you eating and it just kept burning and burning and burning?
Burning.
Yeah. Did you try to have like a big meal, like a burger or something, or you didn't want to?
I had thought, and my wife now, Casey, she was like, "You need to eat some junk. You need to eat some junk."
Yeah.
And I didn't do it. I just kept pushing the
Were you
clean,
coaching
kept
yourself
pushing
at
the
that
clean.
point?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough call to make, but that's probably what you needed.
I turned myself pro.
I told you about that. My one client that I had, that he would stay up all night and just stress. I'm like, I had to feed him a little dirt.
It happened.
To get it to stop, man. Like he burger fry.
Somebody was pacing. And
he'd just be up all night.
It happened at my pro debut.
When I don't sleep.
You just burn.
Yep. My weight's going. I weighed in at 203, which is where I wanted to compete at.
Right.
The next day, I was like 193.
Damn. Yeah.
Soon as I stepped on stage, the expediter, who was Alan Sizemore, he looked me up and down, just went. And I was like, "Oh man, this is bad."
Damn.
I already felt that. I already knew it.
Yeah.
Because when I was trying to pump up,
nothing.
Casey came up to me and said, "What's going on?" I said, "Why?" She said, "Your face." I said, "I can't feel anything."
Yeah.
I know it's over.
Yeah.
She's like, "What? Let me go get some." I was like,
"It's too late."
It's too late. Yeah. We fixing to line up.
Yeah. So when I started having me at my pro debut, I had McDonald's. I had 2 of their cinnamon rolls. I had a couple cheeseburgers, a large fry, and then I went that night and got a filet mignon and the big Tech Thunder Down Under or whatever they have at Outback, and that stopped it. Thank God. But you got to get that. Yeah, the nerves. So when I start eating, probably like Ryan, your metabolism kicks up. But if your nerves, now you're even higher, right? So you give yourself a little 80 carbs and you think, oh, that's going to hold. Maybe you don't have enough fats. It's through you. Now you got to eat again. Well, that just sped you up more. You got to get some dirty in there to slow it down.
And then I'm opposite. for example, Jay and me had figured out I don't really need a carb up because I'm very relaxed. I fell asleep backstage at the prejudging at Masters. They had to like kick me and be like, Justin Bailey's like, Jeff, bro. I was like, oh, that's cool, man. Like, and I'll stand up and get going because I'm a person that if I pump up, it actually kind of hurts me because my legs, my upper body will get away from my legs. So I get to pretty much chill. So therefore my routine's always been
I'm a different
sleep,
bodybuilder
nap.
with a pump.
I don't need food.
If you see me
different.
like now and you see me in the gym, like I morph and I got to get that on stage. And if I can't get that pump,
That is me 100%.
Yeah.
I need my gym look on stage,
Right.
and I can't get it there. Almost all my top 5, 20 times top 5, I ate a double quarter pounder, fries, and an apple pie backstage.
Oh, even that close to stage? Oh, I thought you were going to tell me the night before.
No, backstage. Damn. And it wasn't until maybe...
How do you keep your belly in, though? I would have
That's
trouble
what
with that. That's why I need to get it in
The
earlier.
last 2 years that I did it, a couple of judges
Yeah,
that
you
I
couldn't
knew
keep your
came up and said, hey, man,
My quarter turn looked terrible.
that belly.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I guess I need to do away with the
Well,
quarter
dude,
pounder.
what I
and they
would-
were like, what? What are you doing? I was like, man, I got to stay full.
Well, what I did was that morning at 6 a.m., I was having some more junk. And so I didn't get on stage till about 10. It looked pretty
Maybe that's what I need
solid.
to do.
Yeah. You got to pull that trigger on it, I think.
You guys drinking water during this because you know how people are. You hydrating all
Dude,
this?
I personally have a gallon of water the day before. I'll take 2 in for a week, and then I have a gallon. I mean, I believe you get peeled, and then water ain't gonna hold. Water holds with fat. Like if I don't have any fat on me, dude, I could probably drink 2 gallons. I could probably have a gallon before stage, up to that morning if I'm fat free. I don't really pull all that.
See, I've often
but I adjust my pads too. I don't keep testing. I think that's gonna make you hold. I don't keep GH in. I know these guys do all that, but I don't do all that. It's all dry stuff. You know, Tren, Winstrol, and even you can use a little Caber, and that's gonna pull that prolactin down. Now you're just fucking a rock. So I think you can keep your water. It's just different how you want to. You know, shit's different how people are gonna do it. But I know one thing too. I have to be dry. Like conditioning is always going to be a thing for me. And like, you know, that's what's I think always helped me get top 5s and pro shows. I definitely wasn't the most gifted guy. Like to be, you know, those guys that were under me, my point that you could just tell had better genetics. But I was so fucking peeled. The judges had to put me in the top 5 in those shows. So.
It's so interesting how we're all different because my approach, like I don't have to carb up really. We found that out in Masters Nationals because what happens is my belly will go out.
Yes.
So I have to be tighter, but I actually, because I'm short, I'm 5'2", but I'm dense, like I could get away with that. I don't have to really pump up or do any of these things where I know what you guys talk about because I've trained around you all. I've trained with you. You've been at my gym and I've seen like you guys mutate over 15 minutes. When you guys work out, I don't ever do that. I just kind of like look a little different. But for the most part, it's just a different look. And it's really nice we have this open conversation about how it's all different.
Jose, he'll go on the Olympia stage with 50 grams. And he's full as a tank.
See, that's more me, man. I was full on keto. Like I'm just like I
full
take
the whole
barely
time, 25 grams, 2 hours of cardio.
Yeah. No,
Like what?
Nope.
Everyone's different.
Big problem. Like,
Well,
you're trying
Jose
to show
was-
your best body, but you're not working out. Like it's on a day that you're not working out. It seems like that'd be an issue.
Well, you gotta get your pump. I mean, you gotta start. You got
do? You just back there doing push-ups. and shit?
push-ups, bands. They don't even have weights anymore.
Dude,
so you
I
gotta
remember
bring
when
your
we first started,
bands.
they had
and-
fucking weights.
Hell
It was
yeah,
cool,
they did.
Man.
Yeah.
Like it actually was like kind of like a gym
Yes,
vibe back there. You
yes.
guys handing each other weights.
They don't do that
get
anymore.
pumped up.
You gotta bring some fucking bands and do
Why
push-ups.
did they take them out?
because
It's hard for them to move them in.
Oh my.
They say it's
Cost.
liability,
They say it's
but
liability. and
I
cost.
think it's too hard for them
dude.
to
That was a
come in.
bitch. Fuck yeah. I remember when the Cincinnati shows, Mike is a old school guy, but he bringing all the weights. I mean, dude, I'd see them. They had a big truck, and these motherfuckers are. I mean, shit's heavy, you know. But that's what they did, and then finally, I just think someone didn't do it, and they're like, oh, we can get away with this. Everyone still comes. You know, if we all boycotted and said get some fucking weights back, they'd probably have some weights back.
Masters Olympia, they had
little bit.
machines and everything.
There you go. See, that's cool.
They had hammer strength and everything.
Now that would work.
And I started getting excited, but then when I started,
Then it wasn't responding.
I was like, okay, this is not good.
The only thing you could have done, I think, to save that, like a liquid carb with Slen.
Salt.
Well, but some Slen. I would have tried 5-6 IUs and put 150 carbs of carbs in your liquid. Yep, and see if you could get it back. Yep. But
It's so different. Like hearing you guys, I'm like, no, man. The moment you're talking like that, I'd be like, I'd be a watery mess of shit, belly bloated out, and everything. I'm better off just drinking water.
Like his
and
genes
going
are
to
a little
debate.
bit more like mine.
Yeah,
and if you look at our shapes, we do have similar shapes. The big delts. So I know that I got about a 20-minute window when I take that insulin and all that food. I look like insane.
Yeah.
And so I'm just saying that probably would have been this only saving grace, something like that.
No, I don't disagree. I'm one of those people I relate more in that sense of like
the Jose side.
Yeah, the Jose side. Like I have 50 grams of carbs. Jerry be like, you still get pumped? I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Yeah. It don't really fade until the only weird prep I ever had was that step prep where we didn't change my food for an entire 11 weeks. And it was 250 protein, 250 carbs, 45 fat. And I did like 15,000 steps a day. That was all I did. And we didn't touch shit until the last 7-9 days. We dropped it a little bit to help me make weight. Dang. But no, that otherwise, if I'm one of those people, like my activity will be 10,000 or 8,000 steps a day, but I normally have to get down to like 50, 100 grams of carbs to like really push periods to get like that. And he can't feed me more than 200 or 300 carbs on a refeed because then I'm like Jose to a T. Like what you're saying, I relate more to that. I don't relate to you guys. Oh, I ate double Whopper. Then about 4 hours later, like I got chocolate thunder from down under. I'm like picturing just like, I'm like, God, I would look terrible. I just know it. And
I don't know if
you
remember that picture I have where I'm going like that and that DJ's behind me.
Yeah.
And that's up on the gym. That was all that McDonald's food. I was like 187 when I hit stage there.
So I think that brings us have to talk about Jason's potential asshole problems with McDonald's that were rectified.
I don't have asshole problems.
All right, just kidding.
Digestion is good.
Digestion was good.
Barely need a wipe. I'm happy about my asshole. All right, so let's move forward.
Butthole health is up.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. Talking about nutrition. So as we were getting set to re-record, go this next segment, we were talking about the archaic diets, the tilapia and the fishes, to the flex dieting where people are protein bars and everything else on the in-between dieting on these.
Ice cream is oatmeal.
Yeah, ice cream's oatmeal, all these different stuff. So I think it's important to talk about like where it began with you in nutrition, what you've done. Like you said, you had to eat more food. So was that like, as you evolved, did you get more flex? Did you just be like, well, fuck it. If it's 6 ounces of sweet potatoes, now 6 is 12. Like, how did that really evolve for you?
Progression, just like the supplements and the training. 6 ounces to 7 ounces to 8 ounces protein. I think at one time I was at 10. Damn. When I worked with Jose, it was at 10. And
That's
that was a chore.
digestion. I see a lot of guys come to me with digestion issues after doing that. It's a lot. Not everyone's built for it, and not everyone needs it.
Now I do 6.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. It's about 150 grams of cooked chicken, about 6 to 8.
I was carb phobic for a long time until I worked with Jose. Probably when I started working with Factory. Because Tony wasn't too big on. I always did my off season. I've always done my off season. I've never trained with anybody during an off season. Contest time, that's when I've dabbled with coaches, but I turned myself pro. I got in the top 5 at my pro show on my own. But carb wise, man, it's gone from 200 a day to 600 a day. Probably right now I'm at 400. I feel pretty good on 6 ounces and 400 grams of carbs.
Are you eating all clean food?
All clean food.
There you go.
Like, what do you eat?
That's the distinction he's looking at.
Like a meal my pre-workout meals, right now it's 6 ounces of chicken, 6 ounces of red potato, half a cup of pineapple.
Okay. Little digestion extra for pineapple. I like it. So I think where you were going was, are you eating it clean, or are you saying, hey, if I have 40 carbs at this meal, I can eat Fruit Loops?
Because my argument is this.
You're wanting to know what the higher level guys do, I think is what you're teasing out.
Yeah, I'm trying to like kind of get in this idea of where I think that the reason that the guys in the younger years, because you have this debate, you have the whole gear, you got training, all these things involved, okay, and we have an inflammation point. I can dare say that I believe just because from the functional side of what we've studied, the inflammation response from food, especially processed foods.
It's different for each food.
Yeah, and it's different, right?
You're going to get way more inflammation from a bowl of cereal than you are from red potato.
Right, exactly. So then you start combining this with gear.
Right, because you're already being inflamed from the gear, the training.
Well, then what happens is you hit the wall of it doesn't work anymore.
Well, you're toxic.
Quicker, right? Because you're toxic. Well, you're talking to someone over here who took 20 years to get this pro card. And what he's saying is he actually just kept doubling down on more of the basics. There wasn't anything more sexy he did. And I think that's a big thing because
A lot of people ask me that.
Yeah.
What's the magic?
do you think that allowed you to go longer because you didn't get toxic? Is kind of what I'm thinking. You know, when I paint this picture, I'm always
I
like,
do. He's 51 and still banging.
I just believed. I just Fruit Loops wasn't oatmeal to me, and I didn't think Fruit Loops was going to get me to my goal. I just the more clean food I could pile in, I just thought that's the way, the better. And I didn't the supplement side, man. I don't know why we need something better than Tren. I don't know why we need something better than Test. You know,
I agree.
Is there anything better than Tren?
Tren?
I mean, I don't understand. You know, you've got Tren without a Easter. Why?
See, yeah.
Is that going to give you more sides? Is that going to take you out of the game? Is that going to screw with your digestion? So I guess I'm old school. And I guess that's the way I coach too.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I respect it. I think there's something to it. When people pick bodybuilding, they say they come to you and they want to be a bodybuilder. I'm like, it took me 10 years before I felt confident enough to be on a stage. You know, there was like a lot of work that went in that. And I think I was better for it because when I got my ass hammered and it was like, okay, well, I guess I go back to work because I've all been doing this for 10 years. I'm just not going to stop and keep the progression going. And you're sitting here saying that that is something that you kept a commitment to, but you were just like this, it's basic. And people are trying to reinvent the wheel all the time. You got these new sexy cycles that come out, the new sexy way to train, the sexy way to diet. And I'm like, but you picked the path of bodybuilder. The path of bodybuilder is very much a monk life to a degree with the foods. It's very basic. It's very boring. There's no diet variability. Like it is what it
Groundhog
is.
Day.
Yeah.
I try to repeat and
And
repeat.
7 days a week, right?
Yes, 100%.
No cheat days, no cheat weeks,
No-
no cheat months, no cheat hours.
no.
No. There you go.
No. Now, I have usually ate 2 meals, free meals a week, usually on quad day and on the weekend. Now, the Wednesday is dirty. I'll probably go
What do you do?
right now. I guess it's not dirty. I'm going to Sushi Kingdom. I wasn't. I was going to Wendy's or McDonald's.
Really?
Yes.
Do you like that or it's just
It's a way to nail down 1,500 calories.
okay?
Because if I don't eat, I'll lose weight.
I get that. I just
quad
don't
day.
even enjoy Wendy's. I would have to pick something else, like a pizza or something.
Now,
No.
on the weekend, I go to a sit-down restaurant, steak and
Yeah.
baked potato. But I still, when I order, hey, could you not put any butter or seasoning on that?
Do you
can
really?
Yeah. No
Damn.
salt on that potato.
Damn.
Because I just know the way I'm going to feel. And I don't
Sure.
want to feel
No,
that
I
way.
get that. I let them season. I let them butter it. But I'm definitely not doing the Wendy's thing. I probably would rather have like a Chipotle burrito and just put a lot of cheese and sour cream and guac on it and get my calorie that way. But I think that's just taste, like different taste. You know what I mean? But a lot of my guys, when they're growing,
The cleaner.
yeah,
Now I do hibachi shrimp and chicken, some rice, and then I eat 3 or 4 sushi rolls.
okay.
So
So to me, that's a more cleaner free meal,
Yeah.
you know. And that's how I do it. We do sushi at least once a week, and then we'll go out for a steak or something. I don't know. I think I just got to the point where I don't like feeling bad,
no,
you know.
No.
And
I just say again.
What's your lab work like?
I usually go twice a year. I don't go 4 times. I usually try to go, and both times I usually go after a 6 weeks cruise. So there's the sexy blasting cruise.
Do people still do that anymore? I'm like, I do, and I like it. I'm better for it.
There has been maybe some alarms, and I've had to do some things, right?
Like what? That way the audience has some ideas. Like 'cause,
Like
you're
red
pointing-
blood
pointing
cell
rush
count
away.
up.
yeah,
My blood pressure up. Okay, now it's time to go give some blood. You know, try to oil change it.
how's your cholesterol, HDL, and all that? HDL always takes a hit for a lot of us.
The last time it was elevated, and I talked to a doctor, and maybe I'm sure y'all can help me. He's just said it's elevated, but Ryan, I need you to drink more water and chew your food more.
What was elevated? Your cholesterol total?
Probably LDL.
Total cholesterol.
Where you're just total?
So
Yeah,
probably
just-
more the LDL
I mean, the way I always
And I
look
was
at
like,
it,
what?
we need cholesterol itself is not the enemy.
Yeah, it's
Number one, it's your
cell
inflammation,
messengers,
right? You can have 350 total cholesterol, and if your inflammation is super low, you're not plaquing. That's what they don't tell you. They've created this industry of statins. So, you're over 200, here's a statin. Well, what's your inflammation like? You don't necessarily need that statin. And then also, what's your triglyceride to your HDL? So you want that 1-to-1. Right. So if your HDL is 50, you want your triglycerides 50. That's where bodybuilders usually suffer. My HDL, using any type of ped, it's going to be under 40, and that's not where you want it. Yeah. But my inflammation, I try to control and keep low. So then you don't have plaquing. So that's where it comes in. So if you use just the standard Western medicine to look at cholesterol, they're going to have every one of us on statins because our cholesterol is a little high. But you need cholesterol to make hormones and to do a lot of things in the body. It's the inflammation. And you eat really healthy. But what will increase inflammation is trin. It's very inflammatory. So during that phase, you want to definitely make sure your diet's more dialed in, right? But this whole cholesterol thing gets kind of blown out. So really take a look at your HDL and your trigs is what you really need to look at.
I try to go after an off season and then after a contest, so I can kind of compare.
Yeah, I've been having my guys go at the highest of their cycle point.
I just did yesterday, and I'm back trying to grow.
Like we've agreed, say, hey, this is the highest we're willing to go right now. After about 2 weeks, I'll have them run their labs, and that way we have the glimpse of like what it's looking like as the highest peak.
Yeah, I've never gone during the highest peak. I've just never gone during that. I guess maybe it's either. I guess I don't want to see it, or I guess I know it's going to be skewed.
You do know it's going to be skewed. I want to know the reason I did it yesterday while I'm the pushing now. I want to know, I'm 46. I want to know how skewed is it, and if I'm going to do this for 16 weeks, that's almost half my year.
Correct.
So if I'm only looking at my 6-week cruise areas, that might be a third of the year as I might run 2 4-monthers. So I'm like, I better go look. You know what I mean? That's my thought process.
Right. I guess maybe my justification is it going back to normal? Or how close is it going back to normal after that? Mm-hmm. After the aftermath?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I probably need to go one time during peak and one time on the cruise.
Yeah, I think it's just good to know. He does with his guys. Yeah. I did it yesterday. I'm a little curious to see what it's gonna come back.
I gotta go for all my stuff. I go next year. Yeah. I told myself I was going after I turned 44 for the CT score.
Yeah,
for all
I've done that
stuff.
once. Have you ever done one of those?
No.
Okay.
And I've told myself after these shows, if I get to them, then in August or September, I'm going to go and I'm going to have all those.
I need to have it.
I was 42. It's been 4 years. I really need to do it again. Like I can't really hang my hat on that anymore. It's been too long.
Well, there's one that's I think they're saying is the new gold standard where they eject dye into you, and I guess they see it.
Calcium scores.
Yeah, I do the calcium, but he's
the calcium score. But there's another one that's like it's they actually could inject dye, and then they look at it through some kind of imaging.
Is that not an EKG?
I don't know. No, they could look at it through some kind of screen, I guess, where it's basically deciphering soft plaque from hard plaque. Okay. So they would be able to understand the risk better because the CT score says it could say it's awful, but they're like, but if all the plaque is hard, then it's by all means safe, right? Because it's not like you want your plaque to be maybe I have inverse. You want it to be soft.
Inverse. I think you want your lipids to be more bellowy and pillowy.
They're able to take that, and that comes back to
hard and packed.
But that comes back to something.
Go plaque hard.
Correct. So I had inverse, but it comes back to that podcast with that Krista girl that I used to train. Remember the one with the cholesterol expert years ago? She was having the ApoB marker for cholesterol, and then there's like this whole big thing to it. So when people hear cholesterol, the big thing, like Jay's saying, is statins the answer. There's a lot of research that came out of Britain in 2012, 13 that it's hard to find on the internet. But if you go look, you can. Did they study people who had bad cholesterol and good cholesterol, and the rate of heart attack was no different. So they don't really have the cholesterol model to a whole degree.
You can find a lot of research if you go on to Google Scholar. Some of the healthiest people are between 180 and 280.
Yep.
Outside of 280, they see more heart attacks, and under 180 they see. Now, because under, you're not making enough hormones, and we know testosterone levels at a nice level is cardioprotective, right? So if you're not making enough hormone, you're going to be screwed. And then I think once you get outside of 280, all the other things are fucked up. You usually have inflammation because you are eating so bad, and then we see more problems. So I'll get someone at 240, and they're freaking out, and I'm like, no, here, look at this study. You eat good. Your CRP is your inflammatory marker. It's under 1. You're fine. You don't need a statin. So
no, I agree with you. Yeah. So what's next for you in your career? We have all these years under the belt, at some point you have to be thinking about what the last dance is. And
like, are you trying to get a top 5 Master O? You going to go back?
Yeah,
what's
it?
Right now, I want to step on stage with my gym look one time.
Yeah.
I didn't like the way I don't want to end at the Master Olympia look.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest, that's probably the only reason I'm getting on stage this time. Because I thought, what's higher than the Masters Olympia for me? Nothing. Maybe the Olympia, but now that the
you guys
point
still have
system,
points or no,
it's gone.
That's what happened to us. We're gone too,
So
which hurts me.
I could see myself getting to the Olympian points. I mean, I got 5th and 6th of that open show.
That's how I always was. Yeah.
But now that they took it away,
yeah,
I'm not. I don't see myself winning a show.
The closest,
I see myself squeaking in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 3rd, 4th.
Yeah.
But
yep.
So I thought Masters Olympia was going to be the pinnacle until I was like, man, I don't want to leave like that.
So let me ask you this:
So
you stay pretty lean. Why not get ready and be ready 4 weeks out and play with what it takes? Play with different insulins, play with like loading that morning.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say I agree with him because Tony will always come up to me like, hey, you didn't see this from me, but look how Ryan looks, because he knows Ryan. I've watched Ryan privately. Ryan doesn't know this, but I've seen Ryan. And at 4 weeks out, there's been some looks of him that I'm like, just tell him stop.
Yep.
And Tony's like, I know.
Everybody.
And I'm like, and he'll be the first one to admit it.
But I'm not talking about that. I'm saying get ready and then peak. Work on peaks and even work on doing a big junk meal at 7 a.m. and then act like you're going to be on stage at 10. Even if you got to throw in insulin. See how you look. Like,
Which
play
is
with it.
exactly what I do with my pro clients, but
Yeah.
I don't do it with myself.
Right.
I just
hire someone to do it for you the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Turner came to me one time and said, Ryan, whatever you're doing 2 or 3 weeks out, can you stop it, please? Or come to me.
Riddle.
Yeah.
I want to get Turner on. Turner's
cool.
a good time. Yeah, he lives right over
Alan
there.
called Alan Sizemore,
Yeah.
chairman of Tennessee. He called me after the Masters Olympia, and he said, I need you to do something for me. I was like, man, what now? He said, don't diet for the next show. Just don't diet. Just show up. He said, whatever you're doing, the 2 to 4 weeks out, and I don't know that it's the 2 to 4 weeks out if it's not the 24 hours before.
Yeah.
I think that is the culprit. I get so worked up and so nervous.
Well, let me tell you what's happening physiologically. And you probably know this, but just let's talk through
let's
it.
go.
Your stress is rising.
100%.
When stress is up, your cortisol's up. When cortisol's up, your norepinephrine's up. When that's up, glucagon rises. You're dumping all those carbs in your liver back into your bloodstream, and then you're eating carbs on top of it. Yes. What I do with my guys, I have them use a glucometer.
Okay.
If your bloodstream is still at 112, but you think it's time to eat, it ain't time to eat. You need to go walk and pose. Take a GDA Max or take a metformin, get it down to 80, now load in the carbs. So you might be loading through, or your sugars are getting so low and you need more food. But I think if you knew where your blood sugars were, you could better control it. And then I would use something like our New Ethics Cordes or whatever you like, but something that helps that metabolism of that cortisol, because it sounds like it's a stress response. And if you're not pushing that cortisol out, you're just going to keep dumping into your bloodstream. You know what that does when it's in your bloodstream? Inflammation. So now you get puffy and watery looking.
Yes, yep.
So I think you could fix it. It's just going to take a little bit more tools and a little bit more details than what you've been doing.
Yeah, he's got the phosphoserine and the ashwagandha that's in the cordes, and those are known to help just drop cortisol and metabolize cortisol. Right. So he's just helping you just hack through that whole thing of the loop of it.
So for my guys like that, I give like 2 or 3 of those every 4 hours, starting about 3 or 4 days out.
My daughter is a year out from graduating pharmacy school, and I was discussing this with her, and she knew a friend of hers in high school that suffered from performance stress. Mm-hmm. She played soccer and basketball. Mm-hmm. Well, a doctor prescribed her I think she called it some kind of a performance stress. And I got on telemed and talked to a doctor, and I have it.
Okay.
So I'll send you what it is. I don't know what the name of it is, but I'll send you what it is. But it's I guess it's some kind of not in the Xanax or Valium family, or maybe it is. Say the name of it.
Ativan.
No.
They give beta blockers to symphony
I think
people.
it is in that line.
Yeah, because
but
it
is
helps
that
slow your
going
heart
to
rate,
ruin
help
my pump?
keep your-
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get a good pump on a beta
Okay,
blocker.
because when I got it, it said take 1 or 2 a day, but the ending has let's see, what is diazide? Hydrochlorodiazide. It has at the ending, it has some. It made me think, okay, that's some form of a water pill. Yeah. So I was thinking like the pump. Yep. If it's a beta blocker, if it's going to mess with my pump. Yep. So I did take one, and I noticed maybe a little down relaxation, but I did pee. Is the relaxation causing the pee, or is the medicine
moving through?
Right.
Yeah, I would say probably moving some water through. So I mean, I would definitely test that before like a gym session or something. See if you pump up before you're going to put that in. Yeah.
I'll send it to y'all.
Yeah.
So we got one more run in there somewhere.
Yeah. So I looked at Toronto, and actually I have the plane tickets I bought plane tickets in December because it was $350. I mean, $350 round trip to Toronto, Canada. Damn. So I was like, okay. But then life started happening. My dad started having some health problems, and it just kind of took my mental game out.
I feel that.
So I'm going to bypass Toronto, and then I'm going to try to do Atlanta and Chicago. And that may be it. I always have to say maybe.
Well, anytime you can be taken out by an injury, anything could go.
So, and at 51, things change. Man, I'll tell you, if I hit a wall and don't eat or if I miss one meal, it's 3 to 5 pounds.
Damn.
So I got to be locked in. The more locked in I am, the better off. You know, I can't just go without a meal. Like I can't go anywhere. I got to take a backpack. And I guess that's part of what I signed up for.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's part of the lifestyle that I've lived for 20, 30 years.
I know. What are you going to do after you're done? I want to ask that, and then we'll wrap up there.
I am going to train until I can't train no more.
Yep.
I'm going to try to look a certain way until I can't look no more. I'm going to hang the supplements up, right? I'm not going to hang up 200 a week or 180 or whatever I think, whatever my test results say I need. I'm assuming I will dabble a little bit afterwards, but I feel like I think I'll go down to 180, find a sweet spot.
Mix a test or weight?
No, weight.
Okay.
What are you right now?
This morning, 215.
Okay.
It's about 30, 35 pounds.
So I think I'll do that over the next 2 years.
Will you be happy at 180?
I think so. Okay. I think just living wise, I think stress will go down. Mm-hmm. Also, I mean, I have a goal to, have abs at 60.
Yeah, sure.
I've had abs. My abs haven't left since 2005.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, they haven't left since 2005. They've been here the whole time.
Well, I was honestly sitting over here thinking, one of the clips that I made from your episode before was, I think you said you have eaten
six meals a day.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, yeah.
Gallon of water a day for 30 years. Yeah. Sometimes it was 7. When I was teaching, it was 7 meals because I was getting up earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Just think about the consistency of that's crazy.
And with teaching Monday through Friday, I was locked in, man. I get 7 meals in big time. Once I started coaching, I got up a little later. I'll be honest.
Yep. I don't blame you. Yep. It allows that flexibility.
Yeah.
I know you don't do it, but.
Are you 3:30?
Yeah. I've been doing it since I was 21, 22. When I got my job with the government, I had to be in at 3:30 in the morning at the airport. So
I was getting up at 7. Now, the past 2 weeks, I've been getting up at 6. For whatever reason, I still like 7. 7 just doesn't sound early.
7's where I was getting up at 6. I've lowered my coaching, like my clients, so I do 7. That seems to work pretty good. But
and you go to bed when?
About midnight.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in bed at 7:30.
Dude.
Hey, I mean, I'm glad it works for you, but that feels like I'd be sleeping my life away because I do so much from 7 to midnight with friends, and I'll go out to dinner, or Ari and I are hanging.
You know what that is? It's just inverted for me because I got such big.
But you're not hanging out with Lacey at 3 to 8.
No, but she's up in the morning. She does her own routine.
Yeah, so but she gets home at 5 from work.
Yeah,
you guys don't have that much time.
We got a couple hours every night. Then we have usually Thursday morning together because I don't go to work. She works remote, 4 days a week. And we have all day Saturday, all day Sunday. I mean, I think that for us, when we're actually like together with our time, our phones are up. It's a little bit more meaningful. There's things like that that I think make up for it rather than just the whole we're next to each other, but we're both on our phones next to each other. Okay. So we do a really good job about that. We make sure we communicate. So I've just always had to have that schedule with in-person training. That's how I built my brand. So you got people who need to get to the gym before work, and it's you're walking in at 5:30 in the morning and you're not looking up till 8:30, but I'll get 25, 30 clients done in that window because I do small group training. Roll back in the afternoon, tackle from 3 o'clock till 5:30, another 15 to 20. And that's kind of, you work a split shift if you're a trainer for in-person. And that's just kind of what it is.
Yeah. I'd like to go back just real quick to people, because I'm a pro, because you're a pro. Do people come to you and they think I have that magic something? Like either that magic source, that magic supplement that I'm not talking about. And all I say is consistency.
I was just gonna say that's my motto: consistency over time. That's the only reason I got where I was.
I just never gave up, and just.
There was certainly, out of my 4 friends and I that started training together, I can literally say, and it's not me, every single one of them had better genetics than me, but none of them stayed with it. So they didn't get anywhere.
I remember years of eating the same pre-workout meal for like 4 to 5 years straight.
I definitely was that way for same breakfast. I might have been, yeah.
I mean,
I will go until like I'll get a food diversion almost, and that can be a while. So I know what you're talking about because I've done like two or three protein shakes for 10, 15 years because I don't like whole food.
A shake and cream of rice has been my pre with some MCT oil for probably the last 4 years.
Yeah,
it just works. I get pumped up real quick. It goes through me. You find
I know it's weird. I'm sitting across from 2 pros. And I've watched you all and admired you guys from afar. And you guys sit here and tell me all the basic, boring shit. And I'm just kind of like, but where's my stuff I buy at Trader Joe's and a whole paycheck? Is it there something like, what about purple potatoes? Aren't they superior to the sweet potatoes?
If you like them.
You know what I mean? Like, so I get what you're saying. People come up to me at the gym and be like, man, how have you done, been able to do it for so long? I'm like, because I like coming to the gym. I'm often like, what else would I do with my hour of my day? Netflix is very unfulfilling to me after a little bit. Like, after a little bit during your day, like, people kind of like, I'm like, you waste so much time, like just 30 minutes to an hour. And that's usually how it starts. Like, I don't have any of this great advice. If I did, I'd give it to you. And number 2, I wouldn't own this gym. I'd be so fucking rich. I'd only be dealing with rich people who could afford me and fly me to all their places they wanted me. I wouldn't be here if I had that secret sauce. Yeah. Nor would you, nor would you.
The secret sauce is time and showing up and throwing in intensity. That's it.
Yep. And I think the other thing he said,
and showing up.
You had 15 years to a pro card, 15, 16. You had 20. I'll have never because of my legs, and I get that, but it doesn't mean that anyone quits. You do what you want to do for you, and you keep fighting. And bodybuilding is something that I think that we can all relate to. That's been our one thing. We've just been like, this one thing I just want to try to see how far I can really fucking take it. And it's our own mental picture of what we see that no one else sees.
What I get from young guys at the gym, they'll come up and they'll say, oh, man, you look great, blah, blah, blah. I just don't know if I could get to that level. And I'm like, number 1, you look like you have a better beginning than I did. Number 2, I'm like, how do you know unless you put in the time? The time's going to pass either way. You're going to end up being 40. How do you want it to look? It's going to pass either way.
100%.
It's up to you. And you don't know where it's going to go unless you put in the work. My dad told me, if you work hard enough, you can be anything you want to be. But when I was 19 and I told him I wanted to be a bodybuilder, he's like, you're not going to be able to do that. You don't have the genetics. I'm like, wait a minute. You told me for 12 years I could do anything I wanted if I put my mind to it. So I was like, fuck this. I'm going to show you. I'm going to do it. And I did. But I still believe if you put your mind to something and you work hard enough, you can do it.
I agree.
And then someone will say, well, you couldn't dunk a basketball. Well, let's look at it that way. What if I put, 5 hours a day, as much effort as we put into building our body, I'm wearing ankle weights, I'm doing everything. I bet I could get pretty damn close. I bet I could dunk at least a little ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, so maybe you don't get to the stars or the moon, but you get to the stars. You gotta just fucking do it if that's what you want. Don't worry about can I really get to your level. You don't know what you can do until you put the time and effort in. And it's just time and consistency. That's what him and I both said. That's the secret sauce.
Boom. That's your soundbite. The soundbite is secret sauce.
Yes,
time.
Consistency.
Ryan, man, thanks for having the conversation with us today.
Sure,
we
definitely.
really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I know Jay and I love being able to jam on bodybuilding and all that. I'm kind of sad Robo's not here. He could have gotten in the weeds on stuff. We could be like, how's your TRT dose? You want more trend, Robo? I'm just kidding. I'll do that. But anyway, dude, thank you so much again. And guys, like, share, comment, get the love out there. See y'all.